I'm really excited about today's trip. We've come all the way down here to County Galway to meet with David Keane, one of my favourite producers and supplier of the perfect oyster for fire and soul restaurants right here in Balnakill Bay. David, thank you so much for inviting us down here to have a look around at this absolutely stunning location. I actually didn't think it was going to be this beautiful, and I know we're blessed with the weather, but my God, this is just a perfect environment. Strange though for someone to come down here and take up oyster farming. It's not your usual field of expertise, is it? Tell me, how did it come about that you end up being down here producing some of the best oysters that Ireland has to offer?
In and around 2014. I should say the farm dates back here to 1893, so
Wow.
there's been lots of owners along the way.
Yeah.
So I came down, I had a look at it, and I thought, well, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, what you see today is not what we saw back then,
Sure.
I might add, but still, I still thought it was very interesting. And I spent the next year coming up and down, checking it out and looking it over, and eventually I said, yeah, this is something I'm going to give a crack.
The most striking thing that you find when you come down here is this absolutely stunning landscape, from the tree line right up to the bay here, the mountains behind us, bogs on this side of us. Must have a massive effect on the oysters that are here in the bay.
Absolutely huge. I mean, if you look around, and the first thing you'll notice is there's no intensive agriculture in this area.
Yeah.
And the second thing you'll notice is neither is intensive industry in this area. So we've very, very little other than, for example, the Connemara National Park.
Yeah.
And so everything is so natural. So what you have is the rivers and streams flowing down into the bay bring with it the nutrients from the hills, those nutrients that influence the famous Connemara lamb.
Yeah.
They're brought by the rivers and streams into the bay, and they fuse with the Atlantic Ocean. Because this is, believe it or not, the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, which is remarkable. Like it feels like a lake right here.
Yeah. The Atlantic Ocean, of course, the North Atlantic Drift, which starts out in the Gulf of Mexico, has come all the way across, all the freshness, if you can consider it. And it's come in here, and the two bang fuse together.
Yeah. They've hard work to put the graft in order to produce an oyster. How long does that process take? And by the time that oyster makes it to me in Seoul, how long are we talking?
It's a minimum of 3 years. Okay?
It's a long time.
A long time. What you see here behind us is the, if you like, the nursery.
Yeah.
And that's when the seed is that first of all comes in. But they're tiny. They're like the top of the big barrel. That little blue piece that you see that tells you the colour.
Yes.
And the red piece. That's about the size of the oyster seed when it comes to us, first of all.
Yeah.
Highly labour intensive. Very, very physical.
All that work, all that effort and physical effort that goes into producing the oysters, and then nature itself takes hold and produces something really very special. After that, what we place on an oyster, what we garnish it with, what we dress it with is up to everybody's own imagination, really, and so many phenomenal ways to produce or to dress an oyster once we have it. I'm sure that you're the same as me when it comes to eating the oyster, that you prefer it just natural the way it is. But can you cut out some of that myth and perception about, everybody has this idea that you're supposed to drink an oyster like a shot, swallow it down and it's gone, and then we've lost everything. We haven't tasted it or got any flavour out of it.
Well, an oyster makes three juices. Okay, and I would say to you is when you should see this. When you open an oyster, you want it to be full of liquid.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's when it will be like at its most flavoursome. But that first liquid the salt or the salinity of the oyster will assault your taste buds.
Yeah.
So we suggest that you pour off that first.
Give it a little tip.
Give it a little tip. The second liquid, it will make, if you just move the oyster slightly in the shell, it will make a second liquid.
Yeah.
And for your first oyster, pour that one off.
Yeah.
The third liquid is the oyster's true flavour.
Okay.
Savour that. Eat it, to chew it. We always have to chew our food.
Yeah.
Right, if you're going to get it, enjoy it, you have to chew it.
Yeah.
So
which gets people past that first thing of just trying to swallow it. Yeah.
Chew it and enjoy the flavour. Once you've had 3 oysters, that's it, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The third oyster, you've now got used to eating them naturally, go for it.
Yeah.
And it's like wine. If you like it, enjoy it, and if you don't, move on.
Yeah, good. I love it. Yeah, look. So what's your perfect way to garnish an oyster?
Well, I go to Seoul for my garnish tasters.
Well, I'll give you that fiver. Hang on.
Personally, I don't garnish them, you see, but if I do, I would always go to a restaurant because it's the way you make up all the different flavours.
Yeah.
And that's fun in itself.
Yeah, and you're so used to having an oyster in its natural way down here. I suppose it is nice to experiment with a couple of different things.
Exactly. Yeah.
David, I can't thank you enough for today. I even provided the weather for us, which really grateful for that. We could have come down to the howling winds and rain, but this stunning day, a beautiful environment, absolutely perfect conditions for what is a beautiful product. And thank you so much for the work and effort that you put in for us. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
More than welcome, and thank you very much for all your support.